leading the way with important local coverage. You're watching WISN 12 News at 9.
Get ready to pay up for tossing your trash outside. A $500 fine is in effect, but is it enough to stop litter bugs? Massive atonement. The Archdiocese of Milwaukee says it's committed to change after the clergy sex abuse scandal. And roundabout drive-through, the launch that landed one driver in jail. Breaking news here at 9 o'clock, a police chase ended in a crash near a busy shopping district. This is the scene at 84th and Layton outside the 84 South Shopping Center in Greenfield. Police tried to stop a car a few blocks away at 73rd and Forest Home. They say the car took off, crashing into another vehicle near that shopping center. That innocent driver is okay. Police arrested 2 people in the car as they say they tried to run away. Well, watch where you throw your trash. It's now a $500 fine for littering in Milwaukee. 12 News' Ben Wagner is live. And Ben, you can get busted no matter where you toss the trash on the ground.
Yeah, Derek, it could be an entire bag of trash, and it could be something as small as this little candy wrapper. It is a $500 flat fee right now, and these signs are now up to prove it. That law, as you mentioned, went into effect today. Now, the number may seem like a high penalty, but actually it's less than some of our neighboring states. In Minnesota, fines can reach upwards of $1,000, and in Illinois, it can be $1,500 for your first offense. Now, in Milwaukee, it's the ticket price spike that really has caught everyone's attention.
I think it's completely appropriate, and I almost wish to see it go higher in the future because it's unacceptable. There's no reason to throw your trash on the ground.
I think that there will be a lot of pushback on that, especially probably people bringing it to court and whatnot. So, I mean, hey, but if it gets people to stop doing it, I mean, I definitely won't anymore.
All right, so Ben, how would someone actually get a $500 fine?
Well, Derek, it's up to Milwaukee police officers to write those citations, and they would actually have to catch you littering to write one of those hefty fines.
Ben Wagner reporting live for us in Milwaukee tonight. Ben, thank you. From Shorewood at 9, 12 News' Caroline Reinwald is live, where loved ones are remembering a 17-year-old killed in a crash. And Caroline, we've learned that teen's twin sister was seriously hurt in the crash as well.
Derek, she was, and she actually is in the hospital right now with those serious injuries, but she is recovering, is expected to be moved out of the intensive care unit sometime tonight. I want to show you this growing memorial here outside the Frieseke's home. You can see lots and lots of luminary bags with messages on them from the Shorewood and St. Robert's community here. Now, about 200 to 300 people gathered outside the family's home tonight, paying their respects to 17-year-old Megan Frieseke, who was killed yesterday in a crash on I-94 in Dane County. She was a Shorewood High School student, and we have learned her older brother was driving with his girlfriend in the front seat. Megan and her twin sister, Emily, were in the back. All of them were heading home from visiting Megan's older sister at UW-Madison when 2 cars going in the opposite direction lost control and smashed into their car. Their cousin tonight fought back tears as he read a statement from the family.
No one deserves to end their journey at this age in this way, and Megan deserved it the least. She was going to live the most beautiful life. She will forever be a part of our hearts and in our lives. Our family will never be the same without her.
And Caroline, has the family been able to see tonight's gathering?
Derek, they were actually tuned in on FaceTime with somebody who was here at the vigil tonight, so they've already seen this powerful message of love from the Shorewood community. Tonight at 10, we're going to sit down with that cousin and learn what type of a girl Megan was.
Caroline Ronwald reporting live for us in Shorewood tonight. Thank you, Caroline. Harley contract fight and a deal denied. 2 Wisconsin unions turned down an offer from Harley for a new 5-year deal. Harley says the offer included a $2,250 signing bonus, a 14% wage increase, as well as pension enhancements and retirement incentives, and no changes in health care. But the USW Local 2-209, which represents more than 700 employees here in Milwaukee, said no to that deal. The current contract, which was set to expire today, is extended until April 14th. A massive atonement tonight with Milwaukee's Archbishop. The Archdiocese of Milwaukee does this every year. Archbishop Jerome Listecki tells 12 News it's an acceptance of responsibility in the clergy sex abuse scandal and a commitment to change.
We do have to reiterate our apologies and our sincere sorrow for what has taken place. You know, never would I have expected that, nor I think any of the priests that I know would have ever expected us to be dealing with anything like this. So that's one thing. And secondly, to make sure that individuals know that our behavior has changed, and the church has changed, and our behavior has changed.
The Archbishop says he hopes the church can be a light for abuse victims in any situation. A Wisconsin teen's American Idol journey is over tonight. We told you about 16-year-old Frankie Moscato earlier this month, or last month that is. The teen singer is from Oshkosh, and she got a golden ticket to Hollywood, but judges did not move her on to the top 20. American Idol airs Sundays and Mondays at 7 o'clock on WISN Channel 12.1. Now to Weather Watch 12 and your forecast tonight. Not exactly a pretty way to start the month of April. Mark, some areas even saw a little bit of snow.
I know, I should be doing better. This is 12 News at 9 o'clock. We've got to be excited about this. And what are these colors on the map behind me? It's not just green. There's also some white there. What does that mean? Well, obviously there's some snow mixing in with this. There's going to be a while before it makes it here into southeastern Wisconsin. So we could see some rain showers late tonight. Some of those could be mixing with snow, especially in our northern counties. Not expecting much, if any, kind of accumulation. So as you head out the next 24 hours, 38 degrees of rain mix as we head throughout the nighttime hours. For tomorrow, rain and a couple of snow showers, high temperatures hitting 50 degrees. So we'll keep a close eye on that, and we'll talk about a big warm-up coming up in Weather Watch 12.
All right, now to some incredible video from Appleton. Come over your screen if you got a minute, showing that roundabout drive-through. Watch as the driver speeds through the circle and launches into the air. That car actually landed at a Taco Bell nearby, and police arrested the driver on OWI charges. Fortunately, nobody else was hurt in that crash. Commitment 2019 coverage here at 9. Polls open at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning in Wisconsin's spring election. The big statewide race is for an open seat on the state Supreme Court. There are also other local races on the ballot for offices in city leadership and school board. To find out what is on your ballot and where to vote, we've got you covered on our website at WISN.com. Republican lawmakers won an appeals court to force Governor Tony Evers into letting 15 GOP appointees return to work. Republicans confirmed 82 appointees during a December lame duck session. The governor rescinded the appointments after a Dane County judge ruled the session was illegal. Then last Wednesday, an appeals judge stayed that ruling. Governor Evers rehired all but 15 of the appointees.
Now we see ourselves in constant court battles. People's livelihoods are going to be in limbo as well as a result of poor decision making that took place in the lame duck session. Like I said, it was totally unnecessary.
Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald tweeted this afternoon the governor's refusal to allow appointees to return to work violates the court order. He called the move totally unacceptable. New numbers from the Legislative Fiscal Bureau show Governor Evers would face a nearly $2 billion shortfall heading into his second budget. That is if the state maintains all of the commitments Governor Evers is proposing. Those include funding 2/3 of K-12 education costs and honoring Foxconn tax credits. The Sheboygan couple accused of mistreating animals on their farm appeared in court today. Jerome and Lisa Dornack each faced 3 counts. A criminal complaint says deputies found dead animals in and around their home. Authorities had to remove more than 100 animals from the property. The dogs, cats, birds, and horses are now in the care of rescue groups. One of the men who killed a foster father in 1985 is trying to get out of prison, but the victim's family is fighting his release. Here's 12 News' Terry Sater.
This crime has affected our family profoundly since the night it happened 35 years ago.
Ed Veit grieves for his brother Joseph, who was murdered in Kenosha County in 1985. Joseph Veit's 16-year-old foster son Daniel Dower planned the killing with his friend Eric Nelson. In court, Dower blamed the killing on the game Dungeons & Dragons.
Joseph Veit's wife came home from work and found her husband dead in their Bristol home. He'd been shot twice. One bullet in the head, fired by Eric Nelson, took his life.
Now Nelson is trying to get out of prison again. The victim's brothers are trying to stop that from happening.
We just hope that the Parole Commission will listen to what we have to say.
The teenager shot Veit with his own guns, then stole money and his car and fled to Missouri, where police hunted them down. District Attorney Michael Gravely is also against Nelson's release.
Who not only is capable of committing murder, but is capable of being an individual recruited to murder someone that he really doesn't know for simple material gain.
The 16-year-old killer did not get mandatory life in prison because of Wisconsin law at the time of the murder. Nelson could finally get parole after being eligible for 20 years. The victim's family says they've suffered much longer.
There was a closed casket because they couldn't even show him. So that's how it has affected our family for 30 years.
Terry Sater reporting there. The victim's foster son, Daniel Dower, is still in prison and not up for parole until next year. Well, 2 Milwaukee police officers are recovering at home tonight after a suspected drunk driver slammed into their squad car early Friday morning. That driver still has not been formally charged in this case. Investigators said the 31-year-old blew a stop sign at Muskego and Rogers and hit that squad car. That car then hit a light pole, which fell onto the cruiser. The city of Green Bay is now the first in the state to use a system that helps in active shooter situations. New software provides real-time video, pictures, maps, and blueprints of public places such as schools or even Lambeau Field. Officials say it helps first responders on the scene get a better idea of what they are about to encounter.
You tell me to go to room 220 at East High School, I don't know where that is. But if I can pull up a blueprint that's gridded out, and we have every one of the schools gridded out, I can put you within 100 feet of where that person is.
Every Green Bay police officer has access to the software on their smartphone. The technology was purchased through the state's school safety grant program. More to come here on this Monday night at 9 o'clock, including the windshield rock toss. The impact caused an explosion of glass tonight. Police think they know who's responsible. Plus, the president's border shutdown threat. Experts say it could make you pay more at the grocery store. And later, an incredible firefighter rescue. Wait until you see what the chief pulled out of this hole.
Plus, from snow to 60s, when to expect a big-time warm-up. That's coming up next in What I Watch 12.
Stay safe with severe weather alerts. Download the WISN 12 News app right now.
Our huge friends and family
online. Call now.
12 News at 9 is working for justice after a church door murder. Tonight, Milwaukee police say they arrested a suspect in the homeless man's killing. Someone found the 45-year-old's body Friday at Redeemer Lutheran Church on 19th in Wisconsin. He reportedly had significant head injuries. Investigators are referring charges to the DA's office in the coming days. Milwaukee's police chief says crime reduction efforts in the city are helping. 12 News' Joyce Garbasiak here with a look ahead of what we're going to see at 10 o'clock.
Derek, Chief Alfonso Morales says the department is devoted to making Milwaukee a safer city. The number of carjackings, shootings, and homicides all down compared to this time last year. But the news is not good in all of Milwaukee's neighborhoods. We will break down the numbers tonight on 12 News at 10.
All right, Joyce, we'll see you then. A Kentucky grandfather in the hospital right now after someone dropped a rock on his windshield as he drove home. The victim's son-in-law says somehow the man was able to stop, then wave someone down for help.
He couldn't find his phone, couldn't see. The rock had hit his right below his right eye and shattered his face.
Police arrested 2 teenagers, a 14 and 15-year-old. They are charged with criminal mischief. The incident broke the man's jaw, cheekbone, and teeth. As President Trump threatens to shut down the U.S. border with Mexico as early as this week, his administration is ramping up its efforts to stop migrants from crossing illegally. 12 News' Sally Kidd reports from our Washington bureau.
The Department of Homeland Security is redeploying hundreds of Customs and Border Patrol personnel to handle what it describes as a growing crisis, an influx of migrants at the southern border.
It's a very dynamic and fluid situation. I'll be having conversations with Secretary of State today.
President Trump has called on Mexico to step up its own enforcement.
If they don't stop them, we're closing the border. They'll close it, and we'll keep it closed for a long time. I'm not playing games.
Closing the border, experts say, could have dramatic and widespread consequences for the U.S. economy.
The United States has over $500 billion worth of trade with Mexico each year. It's one of our top trading partners. That means that over $1 billion of commercial traffic is moving back and forth across the border every day. That would cease immediately.
Putting some 5 million American jobs at risk, according to a study by the Mexico Institute. Experts say factory assembly lines would be forced to shut down. American consumers would find higher grocery prices and certain produce in short supply.
If suddenly we subtract 3% of GDP or more, that could pitch us into the next recession quite quickly.
Now, the administration is also considering temporarily reassigning up to 2,000 inspectors to help process migrants and transport them to holding centers. In Washington, I'm Sally Kidd.
Apprehensions along the southern border soared in recent months. Border agents are on track to make 100,000 arrests and denials of entry this month. Back here in Wisconsin, new video of pelicans, Mark's favorite subject. Alan Rickard shared this video with 12 News showing the birds in the outlet lake on Lake Delaware. A lot of them you can see right there, almost too many to count. Mark, I know you've been waiting, itching for this story.
Only because our new 12 News at 9 o'clock producer, Tanner, who's up there right now listening.
Getting a shout out.
He tweeted, this was about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. He's new to this area. He's from Nebraska. Well, clearly they don't have pelicans in Nebraska. So what he's was seeing were seagulls in downtown Milwaukee. And he's like, wow, I didn't know there were so many pelicans here in Wisconsin. Tanner, I appreciate it. I won't bring up the pelicans again. Let's talk about the weather around here. And yeah, it is kind of fascinating. We do get pelicans here in Wisconsin. And not just there in Delavan, also along the shoreline in Sheboygan on Lake Michigan, and then up through some of the lakes in central Wisconsin as well. We go back in time first before we move ahead into the future. March was a fairly cold month, ending up a little over 2 degrees below average. One of the big reasons was how cold it started. We had one day with a high of 11. We had 5 days in the 20s for highs, 5 days with highs in the 30s, 13 days with highs in the 40s, only 4 in the 50s, 2 days in the 60s. That was last week when we had those back-to-back days of 61 degrees. Let's talk April now. This is where we start making some strides. We warm things up nicely. We start at 48. By the end of the month, our average high is up to 59 degrees, and my goodness, it actually starts to feel like spring. We also can feel like winter. We average 2 inches of snow per April. Last April, if you'll recall, was a lot more than that. We ended up with 10 inches of snow. Places around Green Bay had almost 30 inches of snow in 1 month in April. That's not fun. Here's the deal. Get a little bit of rain, a little bit of snow, a windy week ahead, and the warmest air of 2019 is coming. The warmest so far has been 61. You can watch as we go through every single day, that warm air starts getting farther and farther north, pushing the cold air out and bringing it in. We head into Saturday now, and this is where the first time we see all these oranges getting close to us. Now, one thing that we have to remember, it's going to be cooler near the lake on Saturday and Sunday, but I do think most areas get up into the 60s for this weekend, which is going to feel great. Live look outside, 46 degrees, Miller Park in the background. We're going to hear from Dan in just a bit. No, the Brewers were not playing there, but I think Dan's got some good news for us coming out of Cincinnati. Wind is still an issue. 32-mile-per-hour wind gust in Milwaukee. Temperature-wise, I refuse to show wind chill, by the way. Temperature-wise, we're in the 40s. It's April. I don't want to talk about wind chill. We've got some snow and rain pushing into southern Wisconsin here. It's going to take its sweet old time as we head throughout the night, though, and a little bit of that mix moving in, changing over to some rain as we head into the midday and afternoon hours. So not the prettiest of days for tomorrow. Still going to be on the breezy side. Then another cold front comes rocking through here. That happens for tomorrow night. A little rain, a little bit of light snow. Most of Wednesday is quiet, but then we could see yet another round of light rain and snow as we head into Thursday morning. Temperature-wise for tomorrow, warming up to around 50 degrees, but have your umbrella handy and have the heavier coat handy as well. I think the better chance of seeing any kind of snowflakes would be in our northern counties. Kind of off and on showers. Wednesday during the day is dry. Then we have a chance for some rain moving in or some mix on Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and temperatures start to go up. Looking good here. Friday, not bad. 50, 60 degrees on Saturday, 66 degrees on Sunday, and then a chance for rain moving in Sunday night and Monday. So kind of crummy during the week, nice on the weekend. That sounds like a good trade-off.
A reason to look forward to the weekend, as always.
Absolutely.
All right, Mark, thank you. When we come back, rescued from the rocks, firefighters dig out this dog who was trapped. We'll tell you what alerted them to the distress.
Visit McNair.
One woman every 80 seconds, striking women of every age, color, and culture. And it's on the rise among young women. 1 in 3 of us will be affected. It doesn't have to be this way. Let's unite to prevent heart disease and stroke for our mothers, our sisters, and our friends. Together we can save the lives of the women we love. Join us at the Go Red for Women celebration on April 25th.
To the news flash at 9 and the ER crash at an Oklahoma City hospital. You see the doors demolished there on your screen. Police say the driver crashed into the emergency room, but somehow nobody got hurt. Doctors continue treating patients during the cleanup. The cause of this crash is still under investigation. NASA is giving us an idea of what real estate on Mars might look like. There are 3 designs picked as finalists in the agency's 3D Printed Habitat Challenge. One idea even has windows for growing plants. The 3 teams will now 3D print life-size models. $800,000 in prize money is now up for grabs.
Here we go. How are you?
A puppy pulled from beneath the rocks. Firefighters in South Carolina rescued the little dog this weekend. Some bike riders heard the dog crying, stuck underneath the rocks. Firefighters took it to a vet to see if it had a chip in the hopes of tracking down its owner. Pretty good night for Milwaukee sports fans, Dan.
You betcha. Good night to just sit back and watch both of their teams on TV. How Giannis rode to the rescue just in time for the Bucks. And how a pair of former MVPs helped the Brewers pull out another exciting win. It's all next, Big 12 Sports.
12 Sports, presented by Menards.
Eric Thames homered in 5 straight April games for the Brewers 2 years ago, but no player in Brewers history, or Major League history for that matter, has ever homered in the first 5 games of the season. Christian Yelich had a chance tonight. The first of 3 games with the Reds at Great American Ballpark. Yelich struck out in the first inning, but his teammates had a little pop. Jesus Aguilar dumps in a single to score Lorenzo Cain and a sliding Ryan Braun. The first RBIs of the season for Aguilar. Next batter, Mike Moustakas. He ripped an RBI double for a 3-0 Brewers lead. 9 batters came to the plate in that opening inning. Zach Davies escaped several jams. He could not get out of this one in the 5th. However, Yasiel Puig, the 2-run double. The Reds were within a run at 3-2. They would go on to tie it in the 6th. As for Yelich, the streak ends. He was 0 for 4 until the 9th when he led off the inning with this double. And Ryan Braun followed with another double down the line. Yelich scores. Josh Hader gets a save. The Brewers pull out a 4-3 win. They start 4-1. The Bucks had a chance to clinch the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference tonight if they won in Brooklyn, plus a loss by Toronto. Only one half of that equation came through. Giannis and Eric Bledsoe were back in the lineup, and they helped the Bucks sizzle in the first quarter. Sterling Brown for 3. The Bucks would lead by 22 points in the first quarter, and then they let up. The Nets stormed back in transition. DeMarre Carroll gave Brooklyn their first lead at 29-6 run. Milwaukee would recover. Look at the hustle here. Bledsoe forces a turnover. George Hill, great pass to Pat Connaughton for the dunk. Bucks up 5 at halftime. George Hill, best night as a Buck. The and one there finished with 22 points. It was a struggle for much of the night for Giannis. And then that. Scored 14 of his 28 points in the final quarter, and the Bucks pull away. Connaughton with the scoop shot there. He scored 12. Milwaukee wins 131-121. Toronto won, so the Bucks' magic number for clinching the top seed in the East is 1. And 34 years ago today, Sports Illustrated pulled off possibly the greatest April Fool's prank in sports history. Their April 1st edition in 1985 had a story titled The Curious Case of Sid Finch, about an aspiring monk who played the French horn, pitched with 1 combat boot on, and could throw a fastball at 168 miles per hour, and he was discovered by the Mets. It was a hoax, but with no internet around to Google the facts, it fooled just about everybody who read the story, including me, a college student at the time. Called the Brewers director of broadcasting asking him, is this real? No, it wasn't real.
At least you didn't retweet it.
No. No tweet. Yes.
All right, thanks, Dan. Weather.
A quick little look for tomorrow. We'll look at a couple of showers here and there.
Chris Sullivan.
Next Live.